right, let's go ahead and get started with 7.3 income statements. So for today's objective, we'll interpret and use the information on a pay stub, a W-2 form, and a 1099 form. There are a few vocabulary words. Hopefully you have reviewed those in the textbook. If not, please do so before we start this lesson. You can also refer back to the textbook if some of these are unclear. For example 1, it says Barbara started a new job and she wants to verify that her net pay has been computed correctly. Her gross pay per pay period is $269.75. She has the following deductions: FICA at 6.2%, Medicare at 1.45%. She has federal withholding of $47.51, state withholding of $16.62. She pays retirement insurance of $9 and disability insurance of $256. She has medical insurance of $12 and dental insurance of $6. And you might be wondering, is that normal? Yes, unfortunately, we have a lot of deductions that come out of our account. So the first thing that we have to do is calculate all of these deductions, and I'm going to do so over here. So we've got $269.75, and we need to find out what 6.2% of that is. And we find that it is $16.72. So I'm going to write that right over here, $16.72, and that is my FICA tax. Next, I take the same $269.75, her paycheck, and I multiply it by 0.0145, which is that Medicare, and that comes to $3.91. So we have $3.91 for Medicare. Next, we have federal withholding of $47.51. We have state withholding of $16.62. We have retirement insurance contribution of $9. We have disability insurance fee of $2.56. We have medical at $12, and we have dental at $6. So when we add all of these together, we get a total of $114.32. We're going to go ahead and take that $269.75 that is her gross paycheck each week, and we're going to subtract the amount of deductions, which was the $114.32. And we find that each week her net pay, meaning her pay after taxes and deductions, is $155.43. All right, what percentage of Barbara's gross pay for this pay period accounts for all of her deductions? Round to the nearest 0.1%. Go ahead and press pause. Solve this. When you're ready, come back. All right, in order to get the percentage that is her deductions, remember we're looking at a ratio where it's always a part over the whole. So in this case, it's the $114.32 is the part, the $269.75 is the whole. Remember, this is all about division when I have a ratio. So when I divide, I get 0.4237. If I move the decimal point over 2 times, because I'm converting from a decimal to a percentage, I get 42.37%. However, it said to round to the nearest 10th, so my 10th spot is this 3. In order to determine if I round up, I look at this 7 here. If it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, I'm going to round up. If it's a 4 to a 0, I keep it the same. So in this case, because it is a 7, it's 42.4%. right, examine Lorna's biweekly pay stub. Assuming that Lorna's salary and deductions remain the same throughout the calendar year, how much will be taken out of her total annual gross salary for federal and state taxes? So we're talking federal tax and we're talking state tax. And each paycheck, these are the values that are taken out. That she is paid biweekly is important. We need to know how many paychecks she receives each year. And for biweekly, it's 26 checks. So we're going to take 26 and multiply by the $1,001.47. And we're going to take the 26 checks and multiply by the $280.89. So in 1 year, she will pay $26,038.22 in federal taxes, and she will pay $7,303.14 in state taxes. When I add these together, total taxes paid will be $33,341.36. For the check your understanding, please read through, complete, and when you're push pause, and when you're ready, come on back. All right, it says employees can choose to increase their tax withholding if they feel that their calculated deductions may not be enough. Lorna knows that usually her tax is 30% of her annual salary. At the rate of the deduction shown on this pay stub, will Lorna's employer have taken out enough for her to meet her obligation? And explain your answer. So we have to look back here, and we see that one paycheck is $45,96.39. We need to get her annual income before we can answer this question. So we're going to multiply her check by 26 because, again, she gets paid 26 times a year. And we end up with $119,506.14. So moving back to the check your understanding, again we have a ratio of what was paid in taxes, or what will be, which is the $33,341.36, and what her annual income was, which was the $119,506.14. When I divide, I end up with 0.27899. Moving the decimal over, basically I have 27.9%. So the answer here is no. She will be about 2% short. So she's going to want to increase her monthly or her each paycheck deductions so that she won't owe a huge amount at tax time. Example 3. On January 30th, Joanne Toscano received her W-2. How much did she pay in taxes during the year? So we're looking at 3 different types of taxes. Here is our federal taxes. Down here is my state taxes. And then here is my local taxes. So if we take the $15,851, the $53,4450, and the $1,092, and we add those together, we find that she's paying a total of $22,287.50 in tax. Go ahead and complete this. Press pause. When you're ready, come back and we'll finish out. All right, it says what percent of Joanne's income or gross income did she actually take home? So it's important to see that they're asking about the income, not the deductions. So she earned $76,350 in the year. We see that from her W-2. And we know that she paid $22,287.50. So we're going to subtract the two so that we can get her take-home pay. which was $54,062.50. So again, looking at another ratio, I've got 54,062.50 divided by 76,350. Put a little division sign there. We're looking at 0.708 or 70.8% of her check she's taking home. All right, last example here. It says Amy Springfield works for Pound Ridge Financial Planners. She's got an electronic W-2. What accounts for the difference between her wages listed in box 1 and her Social Security and Medicare wages listed in boxes 3 and 5? So the first thing we need to look at is what is the difference. So in box 3 and 5, it says $92,100. In box 1, it says $78,900. If I subtract the two, I find that I'm looking for why it is off by $13,200. Now when I look at her W-2, I've got a big amount right there that really sticks out, and I've got a huge amount here that sticks out. When you look at the box in 12, $12,200 is a tax-deferred retirement account. What that means is she's not paying taxes on that tax-deferred. Tax-deferred means she's putting off the taxes to pay later. And so because she's not paying taxes on that amount, it is deducted from her taxable income. And then we have $1,000 here, and you see it says CAF, which is a cafeteria plan, which is a form of flexible spending account. And if you went through your vocabulary, you know that the cafeteria plan allows for medical expenses as well as daycare expenses, and it is tax exempt when using that. And so that accounts for the differences here in both. Go ahead and complete the last check your understanding. When you're ready, go ahead and come back. All right, it says Amy pays 20% in federal tax. She pays 7% in state tax. How much did she save in taxes by putting her money into tax-deferred and flexible spending accounts? Well, 20 plus 7%, she basically saved 27% on that amount because she did not pay taxes on it. So 27 as a decimal is 0.27, and we know it was on $13,200. So when I find 27% of, that's always multiplication when I use that word of, the $13,200, we see that Amy actually saved $3,564 by putting those into tax-deferred and flexible spending accounts. Great job. 2 more lessons to go in this unit.